Welcome, welcome to Satsang. Sorry we got so late in starting this evening, but I'm hoping that you all are coming from the Ganga Arati with us, so you were there as it overflowed in a lot of exuberance. Today is, as we were saying, on the banks of Ganga. Such a special day, all the days of Navaratri, but especially these last couple of days, Ashtami, Navami, Dashera. The days are just getting more and more powerful and sacred. So, sorry that we're starting late, but so glad that you are all here on this really powerful and auspicious and very special time. We start as always, Sandeep Bhaiya. We will start as always with a question that's come in advance from our beautiful Satsang family that joins online through the internet. And then we'll open it up to any questions that anyone here has. I have been working on self-love for many months, and I find it difficult to be able to love others and even myself without expectations. It is like wishing to have no desires, but that wish is still a desire. I would be very grateful if you could help me with this question. And this is asked by Montserrat Avila, who is joining via Facebook. It's a great question, and it's a really important clarification. Self-love does not mean that I don't have any expectation or desire for my improvement. Self-love is not love of every bad habit I have. It's not love of every mistake I make. It's not love of all the areas where I really still need a lot of work to be done. It's capital S, self-love. Self-love is not rooted in the number of times every day that you lose your temper or don't lose your temper. It's not based on anything. Because it's not of the individual self. Real self-love is based on that capital S self, the divine self. Not the self that gets up in the morning and jogs or doesn't jog. Not the self that gets up in the morning and meditates or doesn't meditate. Not the self that promises to get off TikTok but can't get off TikTok. It's not that self. That's the self we are working on, we're molding. We're always working to make our bodies healthier. No matter how well you eat, I hope that you always still have a goal that you should eat even healthier. No matter how great you are about, an exercise program, a yoga program, there's always places that we can be better about it. And these are wonderful things to work for. No matter how generous and giving and sharing and loving and selflessly serving you are, I hope that you're always looking for more ways that you can improve. Ways that you can be more selfless, more humble, more accepting, more just an instrument in the divine's hands. So self-love is not, I am perfect, therefore I love myself. Because then when we do something that doesn't feel perfect, that love goes away. So self-love is love of that which is always perfect. Meaning, it's spirit, it's soul, it's divinity. It's not you hitting the snooze button and going back to sleep when you should be meditating and jogging. That's the part of you that you should be strict about. You don't want to accept that, because then you just get, sick and lazy, and you don't meditate, and everything kind of falls apart all around you. That's not what we're looking for. So it's acceptance of the divine truth of who you are. And simultaneously, desire to do this human experience and experiment a little bit better. But those two pieces have to be held simultaneously. It's not either or, it's both. Yes, you are perfect. Yes, you are divine. Yes, you are whole and complete and everything. And if you keep hitting that snooze button in the morning, punish yourself. Work harder. Work more sincerely. Be more generous. Be more humble. Be more selfless. Be more compassionate. Yes, and desire and expectation. So desires, you're right. The desire to be desireless is itself a desire. It's something that doesn't make sense until we look at it beyond just the tagline. So the tagline that says, be desireless, you're right. Not only does it not make sense, but it actually is impossible. Unless you are so severely clinically depressed that you literally lie in bed all day long and cannot even bother to get up to have a glass of water or some food. I mean, literally that is the only category of person who is entirely desireless. Even, you look at enlightened masters. Well, there is a desire to help more people. There is a desire to alleviate suffering. It's why they are here. It's why they're here in bodies, rather than having dropped the body and been just in divine union, moksha, not coming back on earth. They are here because of a non-karmically binding desire to help others. So you're right. Desires are there, and desires are not bad. Desires are energy. You would never get out of bed in the morning if you didn't have a desire. And literally, this is a definition of clinical depression. Absolutely no desire for anything, not food, not a shower, not a glass of water, not a walk in the park, not a hug from your loved one, not a book, not work, not anything. It's clinical depression. It's severe. It's where you are just because before you become suicidal. So this is not something to be worked toward. It's something to be treated and cured. What we are looking for is a state of being in which we have desire, but we are not attached to that desire manifesting the way that we envision. This is what Bhagavan Krishna speaks about in terms of don't be attached to the fruits of your labor. So I garden because there is a desire for fruits and vegetables and flowers and trees, whether I'm going to eat them or generations after me will eat them. But there's a desire for growth. And when the monkeys come, or the cows come, or the rains come, and uproot your seedlings or saplings or plants, or the goats come and the deer come and they eat everything. Okay. You plant again. You haven't lost yourself. You're not irate. You don't go in the house and get a rifle or a shotgun and, kill all the deer. You don't even think about it. You don't say, God, I wish I had a rifle and I would kill all the deer. You don't curse the deer. Okay. So maybe you were planting for them. You had a different idea. Maybe the universe had a different idea. This is how to work with desires. You have a desire for a project to work out, a well-meaning thing. Wonderful. Put your time and your energy, everything you have in it. And if it doesn't work, okay. The universe had a different idea. If you've ever seen a child, the very first time their sand castle gets washed away by the incoming tide, you realize what it's like to learn that lesson. The child builds the sand castle with this illusion that somehow exactly where the ocean is, a safe, 6, 7 feet away, is exactly where it's going to stay. And during the hours of the construction of the sandcastle, or the digging of the hole, well, the tide is coming in. The child doesn't notice that the ocean is going from 7 feet away to 4 feet away to 2 feet away. And suddenly, a wave comes and over. It's part of childhood. They cry, they learn. Maturity is understanding that you're building a sandcastle and the waves are going to come and wash it away. And not losing yourself about it. Being able to enjoy the building of the sandcastle knowing that in a matter of a few hours it's just going to be sand. We work for our desires fully, sincerely, completely, with everything we have. That's our dharma. And we recognize that who knows? There may be a cosmic ocean that's going to come and level it all. We don't know. But it's not in our hands. That's the point. That's the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita, is your role is only in the doing of it. My role, God's role, Bhagavan Krishna speaking when he says my role is in the manifestation of it. Don't worry about it. It's not your job. Don't pay attention to it. Don't be attached to it. Your job is the sincerity, the wholeheartedness of the work. My job is what happens to it. So that's the desire expectation wheel. Absolutely we have desires. No problem, it's wonderful. I desire every day. My prayer every day is a desire. Oh God, please make me more of an empty vehicle, an empty vessel, an empty channel. It's a very strong desire. Oh God. so this is interesting. Okay. As I drop deeply into this, what I realize is spiritual perfection is actually the state that we are all in all of the time. On a spiritual level, we are nothing but perfect. That is the capital S self. That is spirit. That is your true self. The spirit is perfect. Soul is perfect. True self is perfect. When we say Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat Purnamudachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya, Purnameva Vishishyate. It's whole, it's poured, it's perfect. Nothing lacking, nothing less. On a spiritual level, we are perfect. On the human level, the level with the body, with the mind, this karmic package, this incarnation, we do spiritual practice, our meditation, our yoga, our seva, our japa, our satsang, to remind us of the spiritual perfection that we really are, to reconnect us with that spiritual perfection. Does that make sense? Great, wonderful, yeah. Thanks for diving into that. Yes.
So I realized.
Yeah, you're on. You're on.
So I realized that our brain is our mind is a really powerful tool, right? Awesome. And it can wander into really different places that we like or we don't. And I also realized that probably 99% of our problems are either of the past or the future. So, and when we talk about being in the here and now, so how do I or anybody go about it in controlling the mind and being here now?
Great, great. So yeah, I think of the mind as a muscle. I know that biologically it isn't. It's not made up of muscle fibers. But I actually think of the brain, rather, I should say, through which we experience the mind, as a muscle. What you train it to do is what it will do. If I've never lifted weights, it would be absurd to think that somehow I could bend down and pick up a, 100-pound or 200-pound dumbbell and lift it up. I couldn't do it. And if I really, really, really tried, I'd end up hurting myself. I'd hurt my back, I'd hurt my arms. In order to be able to do that, I've got to practice. I have to build up muscles. My flimsy, flabby, nothing biceps are going to not be able to do anything with a big weight on the ground. There's no muscle. It's not developed. You put us on a basketball court or a soccer field or sitting in front of a piano. Well, if you haven't developed the muscles in the actual body and the muscle memory in the brain of how to dribble and throw and run and catch a ball, you're going to be a disaster in the game. You're not going to be able to play anything on the piano. We have to practice. We develop physical muscles in the body. And for skills, we develop muscle memory, literally. I mean, playing the piano, for example, it's not that your fingers necessarily get stronger, but literally the brain develops the musculature of how the songs go. The musicians are not thinking, oh, B, C, D, up, down. They're just playing. They're just playing. It's happening. Where is that muscle memory stored? In the brain. So I actually think of the brain as a muscle. Now, if all you've done throughout your life is think about the past, ruminate on it, think about the future, dream over it, or be anxious over it, be stressed, and now you say, I want to be in the present. It's like sitting yourself down at a piano with, Beethoven's music in front of you. And you can't even read the music. You have no idea what those squiggly lines even mean, let alone how to begin playing it. You need to practice. The more you practice, the better you get. Same way with the mind. We don't spend time working with the mind. It's very interesting. We work with the body a lot. Different skills, different abilities. We understand that. But the mind, most of us seem to think that it just automatically should do what we want. Right? My legs don't do it. You could put me in a pair of ballet shoes, but I couldn't do ballet. No idea. My legs wouldn't do it, no matter how much I told them from my brain, do it. They're not going to do it. They have no idea how to do it. It would be absurd for me to think that my legs could somehow, magically, manifest a ballet dance just because my mind told them to do it. In the same way, the idea that somehow, out of the blue, with no practice, you're going to say to yourself, be here now, and it's just going to happen. You got to practice. You have to develop the muscle. This is why we do sadhana. It's why we meditate. It's why we do japa. It's why we practice mindfulness. It's why we do seva. All of these pieces of our spiritual practice are building muscle and muscle memory in our mind. Slowly, 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 you develop the ability to be here. Why? Because when you sit to meditate, in your morning meditation, in your evening or afternoon, whenever you meditate, and you're chanting your mantra, and the mind goes, blueberry muffins. And you bring it back. And then the mind goes, cappuccino. And you bring it back. And then the mind goes, my awful boss. And you bring it back. And then the mind goes, my awful mother-in-law. And you bring it back. And then the mind says, oh, I have to call my sister. And you bring it back. And in that practice during your meditation, you develop a muscle of noticing when the mind has gone from where you've put it, and of being able to bring it back. Now, in your meditation, you're bringing it back to a mantra, or back to the breath, or back to an open-eyed meditation on maybe an image of the divine that you're beholding. And in daily life, you are just bringing it back to the present moment, back to the breath, back to right here, right now. So it's practice. Meditation, at least once a day, if not twice, 3 times if you can. And mindfulness the rest of the time. Work with it. Stop multitasking. Do one thing at a time. And here's the amazing thing that you're going to notice. You'll actually be more efficient, not less efficient. This idea of multitasking is one of the greatest myths of the common era. People think, I can't possibly only do one thing at a time. My God, I would be so inefficient. What they don't realize is actually multitasking makes you inefficient. You actually get less done. Do one thing at a time. The efficiency you'll gain will be a byproduct, a nice byproduct, but a byproduct. And you will develop the ability to just be in each moment. Are you eating? Just eat. Are you drinking? Just drink. Are you walking? Just walk. Are you filling in a spreadsheet? Just fill in a spreadsheet. Whatever you're doing, just do that. And the moment the mind wanders, just bring it back. It wanders, bring it back. And just like your biceps, just like your calf muscles, just like every muscle in the body, that muscle of the mind will grow and develop, and that'll become second nature. Yeah, great. Other questions? Yes. Sorry. Have to learn to turn my head. Thank you. Yes, over here. But come over here if you don't mind. Just be easier. Thank you. Easier to see you fully? Yeah, just somewhere where I can then look at you fully. Yes.
My question is around what you were saying about being an empty vessel. Along with meditation and mindfulness, are there any other things that you would suggest that people can do to become more of an empty vessel?
Beautiful, yeah. Becoming that empty vessel. It's a practice also, and it's a very conscious practice. The mind is very good at accumulating stories. It wants to tell stories about everything. Somebody smiles at you, the mind tells a story. Oh, that's a very nice person. Or, God, I must look good today. Either way, it's going to tell you a story. Or, oh, this is a very friendly group of people. Nice people in this city. You're going to concoct some kind of story around that. Somebody's not nice to you. They're mean to you. They look at you in a not so nice way. Oh, God, that person is awful. Boy, these are yucky people. Not a nice town, not a nice city. That person is this. You concoct a story around it. The mind loves to tell stories. And what happens is these stories accumulate as junk in the mind, in the vessel that we are. Along with that, with the stories, desires brew. Not the desires we were talking about, but more desires around this individual being. I desire more money, more possessions, more prestige, more popularity, more acclaim, more appreciation, more, whatever it is. The more I identify with my story, and therefore myself as the star, I'm always the star of the story, the more I identify as that, well, the more you want. I was talking to some friends recently who are very big in the world of entertainment and online, and they're now building this big online universe thing where everybody has an avatar, and people pay real money, earth money, to buy things for their avatar in this non-existent computer ether-based universe. Now, this is something that for the life of me I will never be able to understand. However, that's not the point. The point is, it's a fascinating study of human nature, that you have what's called an avatar, an aspect of you that doesn't actually exist here, it exists only online. You can name it whatever you want, make it look like whatever you want. That part I think is free. But then if you want it to have these clothes, these jewels, this house, this boat, this horse, you pay real earth money for it. The more we are stuck with the identity of the self, whether it's this one, the earth-based one, or the avatar that's been created for the online ether cyber world, each identity I have, I want more for it. More for it. To the point where I'm actually prepared to pay money that could actually buy me like food here on earth, and I'm going to use it to buy a non-existent boat for my non-existent person living in the ether world. But it tells you about human nature. We are all about collection. Collection of things, collection of stories, collection of narratives, collection of emotional states, feeling states, all of that. The only way to be an empty vessel is to very consciously, deliberately, constantly work not to let any of that stick. The moment you find yourself starting to tell yourself a story about yourself, about your experience here on planet Earth, just stop. Say, neti, neti. It means not this, not this. I am not this. I am not the one who was smiled at. I am not the one who was treated badly. I am not the one whose reflection in the mirror I enjoy. I am not the one whose reflection in the mirror I do not enjoy. I am not the one who's been hired. I'm not the one who's been fired. Neti, neti. Not this, not this. Now, it's a practice that we do literally in a seated meditation. It's a beautiful meditation. If you go, online, there's going to be lots of videos of me leading the neti, neti, actual seated meditation, where you literally go through it. I'm not my clothes, I'm not my skin, I'm not my bones, I'm not my blood, all of that. But it's a practice not just for a seated meditation. It's a practice for life. As you move through your life and things happen from the outside world, from your own projections, all of that is clogging up the channel inside. And you just say, neti, neti. And you just let it go. It's a constant cleaning. I love to have a cup of coffee in the morning. And the other day I was making coffee with a new little French press that I got, and the thing managed to basically explode all over me. And I ended up with coffee all over my sari. Now, coffee stains. People, in ancient times used to actually use coffee as a dye. But what I've learned over the years of life is that if you wash something out immediately, even if it's coffee, it'll come out. Give it 20 minutes, it's not coming out. So literally, left everything in the kitchen, ran to the bathroom, disrobed, threw my sari in the sink with the soap. Stain is gone. The same thing, the exact same way that you work with clothes, work with your mind. The moment something comes in, just stop what you're doing. Don't allow it to seep in and stain. Just neti, neti. And if that's not enough, sit for a few minutes of meditation. Have a cold shower, do some chanting. Do whatever you need to do that works for you to bring you back to that place. And just let that be your prayer every day. It's my prayer every day. Just make me more of an empty vessel. more of an empty vessel. Because the other thing is the junk inside, not only does it block you, but it feels awful. It's not even like it feels good. It feels bad inside. Let it go. Just let it go. Let it go. It's a beautiful gift that you will give yourself for the present, and it's a beautiful practice to develop being that vessel. Beautiful. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your evening. We have again this evening the Shabri Ram Leela drama, dance, music program that's taking place down on the banks of Ganga from about 8. Last night it didn't start till almost 9, but I think tonight they'll be starting more on time, until about 10, with this beautiful team putting on the story of the Ramayana, but especially with that emphasis on Shabri and Shabri's story, but the whole Ramayana, but just from that beautiful perspective of the poor, low-caste village woman Shabri, to remind us to remove all borders and boundaries and blocks and distinctions from our life, what we call in Hindi bhed-bhav, discrimination. To remind us that Shabri is the one to whom Bhagwan Ram went. Poor, uneducated, no frills, village woman. And even after he had been attempted to be seduced by Shurpanakha, this demonic beauty with whom he wanted nothing, he shows up personally at Shabri's house, arrives, eats her fruit, or rather the peels of her fruit, because she's in such ecstasy, she's throwing away the fruit and feeding him the peels. But as we listen to the story, we remember that presence of God in our life is not about the degrees you have or the accomplishments you have or the money you have or the beauty you have or the frills you have. It's just all about the devotion in your heart. And that's literally what brought God in the form of Bhagwan Ram right to her house. So if you're feeling separate from God or longing for more of that divine connection, it's a beautiful reminder of just what we call bhakti ki shakti, the power of love, the power of devotion, the power of purity. So hope that you will all join us there for the beautiful Shabri Ram Leela. It's going on last night, tonight, and tomorrow night. And look so forward to seeing you all again tomorrow. So much love.